Well, my net just went straight down. It's this time of night, and I got booted. Apologies for that, guys. We were just talking about that the other night there, on how ISPs usually do any maintenance late on at night, and well, they just pulled a plug in me. So hopefully you're all still there. Meanwhile, I've missed that rack. It's now 9-7 to Bedhead. Well, that was a difficult shot. Welcome back. Well, hopefully, I mean, this is not a good sign, because once they start pulling the plug, they may well pull the plug more than once when they start doing maintenance. That's the only concern I've got. But Bedhead looks as if he's going to stretch the gap now and get to double figures. Yeah, both Twitch and YouTube give you a set amount of time to get back on to the stream, so that it keeps it all together when you actually go to watch the video. The chances are that I've maybe been a bit too late getting back, so it might end up being two separate videos, which is a bit annoying. But anyway, Mr. Fox once again finds himself trailing by 3, but running out of racks. And Bedhead's break gives him a ball and a shot on the 1. Five ball has gone down. Well, he's going to do his best to avoid running into that 3 ball in the right hand corner. Yeah, that was always the concern. But I think yeah, I think he's got away with it. But in all honesty, Bedhead should be buried here. Can Mr. Fox? I think he's convincing himself he can get to the cut. I've got my doubts on it. It's very tight, but it's far easier to play the safety, and he hasn't got there. He needed to punch that one to get the cue ball to react and come back in amongst those balls, and he's not got the cover, and that wasn't difficult to do. So it's a chance gone there. Well, it's a good shot in the 1. Needs another good one. These are all Bedhead's favourite shots, these. But you certainly didn't see Albinario playing many of these earlier tonight, because he was pretty much getting himself in line on the spot pretty much every shot. Because again, once you start having to play shots like these, sooner or later you just run out of gas. But he's looking good now. The 2 awkward ones have been dealt with, and well, the immediate problem is not just potting this 6 ball down the rail, but getting on this 7 in such a way that it's simple to get up for the 8, and he doesn't want to finish low on this 7 ball, because that then immediately brings the 9 and the 10 into the equation. Now both of them don't really need to be moved, and he doesn't want, he wants to, the worst place he wants to be is anywhere there. So he's got, I'll get my line straight in a minute, hang on a sec. Playing it from there means he can get well away from the 9 and 10, but of course not getting into it enough. He's nowhere near the 8. Well, the video won't be there because we're still on the same, well, we should in theory still be in the same stream, but that video will be processing on YouTube. Mr.Bill, well, let's just say he got a severe doing. Albinario was well on form, and well, it wasn't flawless, but it was very strong. The reverse bank called, and it goes, and we know the 9 goes, but he's going to hit the 10. It's all about where it ends up. And he's managed to spin the cue ball into the table, and he has the shot. So this to take the lead to 4. Well, would you believe it? He's found a way to miss again, and he's got it safe. Hang on a second. I'll get it going to that home page. Well, just play the negative safety, just roll to it, that's all you can do. Well, he's called a pocket, but yeah, might as well just keep it tight, wait on a mistake. Well, Bedhead isn't waiting, he's just, see again, the cue ball was hit too heavy there, that's why it's come off the 10 at a bit more distance than we would like, and it's given Bedhead the enticement for the bank. I don't think he really went it with a great deal of confidence, but this time Mr. Fox, well, he's choosing the cut. I don't like that. Oh no, I much prefer the bank. The bank has got much better odds than this cut. But he's played it well, he's got it in, and it's back to within 2. Two ball goes in. Let's just go back to this thing to try and get the bracket up. It takes that long to load. So 2 ball in a break. Just called the safety. This is It's all about whether he can get good cover, and he hasn't got there. It's all wide open. In goes the 1, then there'll be the 3, then across for that 4, drop through in the 4 for the 5, so the problem's the 6. That is, for the time being, that is going to be Mr. Fox's safety net. In Bedhead's chances of running this rack. Now the 6 is tight, and so tight that you're not playing to get on it to play it past the 10. Again, the problem's the 9, so there has to be maybe some movement here in order for Bedhead to go through this rack. And for the time being, that's all that Mr. Fox has to rely on. He has to hope that Bedhead can't get there or can't improve the situation. Now, is he going to dare with this shot? I mean, the simple shot is to just drop through for the 5. He could stun off the rail and try and nudge the 9, but then he'd be risking blocking himself. So something has to happen here to improve the situation. It's not the best position to be in to do it. Oh, that's a cheeky little shot, and that is well controlled, and that has worked out beautiful to find that little gap just to land plumb on the 6, and that has immediately increased his odds tenfold in running this rack. But let's look at the 8, because that 8 ball is not quite frozen, but it's still going to be the test for Bedhead. Going to have to come across the table twice. Well, the answer to that is they don't. They don't go for shots like that. I mean, the only time they will do that is when the frame's won. They'll never play a shot like that down a rail in a professional game of snooker. Yeah, that's the type of shot that you'll see once a player's, you know, he's on 80 odd, the frame's won, and it's maybe the last red that's stuck to the side rail, and he needs it to try and get the century. It's the only time he's ever going to try and cut a ball like that down a rail in a snooker table. All they generally do there is just come off the ball and leave the cue ball on the opposite side of the table. But meanwhile, with a 10-8 lead, Mr. Fox is having to kick. Well, it's not a gimme, this 8 ball. He's got the hit, he's got a rail, and now the 8 ball is about half a millimetre off that rail, and this can easily come out. He's got to get it flush He needs to watch that middle knuckle. And in it goes. And so Bedhead, well, it's not a dead set this, he's all out for the bank. He's hung the 9, and now Mr. Fox is going to have to use the side rail with a bit of left English, clip the 9 and use the angle to come back around the table. He's looking to go the opposite way, he's looking to clip it from the left side so he comes down the right side, if you know what I mean, or at least that's the way he was lining up there. But he has to get, I mean, before you play this shot you have to get right down to look at the ball to see where it is, so you have to get here. These balls can easily be missed around the angles. Well, he's played the draw. Well, I've hit the wrong bloody button, and he's ended up with the high cut. Another tester, but it is to get back to within 1. Crucial shot. And then it goes. So, well, this rack may well be the important one. Getting to double figures, getting all square with Bedhead when he was down and out at 5-1, but can't buy a ball in the break, and I think he's left a shot on here for Bed, and this is what hurts. This is what's sore and so frustrating, and the fact that you've just won a rack, you've just got it back to within 1, you broke off, you've come up dry, and lo and behold you've left your opponent wide open with a shot to get started, and every ball is on, and there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. And all Mr. Fox can do is hope that Bedhead somehow can find himself some way of getting out of line to be able to run this rack out. Well, this shot here, if he goes forward, he's making the 6 a lot more difficult, so he's going to have to leave it long. Oh, I don't think that was the plan. He's left himself dead straight on this 6. So it's a straight draw. The pace is good. Simple to roll the 7 in, but I think he's got to get out into the table a bit for this. He has to be like here, really, so he can just draw it in. Let's see how that looks. Well, that's just on the inside. I think he can still come back. You know, it's always going to come back and go out into the table, so well, this really get the cue ball high enough up, and Mr. Fox is watching Bedhead run away again. And the racks are dwindling away, so it's now 11-9 in this race to 14. Bedhead breaking, and I don't think he's had any joy, and nothing left easy for Mr. Fox to get started. Now he can call a possible combo, but that 10 ball is just a hindrance for the 1-9. He hasn't called it yet, and maybe doesn't fancy his chances with it either. Well, much better if that one ball had got to the top rail, because Bedhead has a chance. Well, this is risky in trying to snooker Mr. Fox in behind this, the 3 and whatever ball that is up there, the 8 ball, because if he doesn't, he's simply going to bank this one down the right hand side of the table, and it will be set as a combo for the 1-9 for Mr. Fox. So he has to get the cue ball safe if he's going to play that shot. But if he plays this gentle enough, the 1 won't come up the table very far. And he's trying to get there, and I think he's achieved success, and that will do very nicely. And the right thing to do when you're protecting a 2-rack lead and you only need another 2 to win, make it as difficult as you can for your opponent. Just heap the pressure on him. And Mr. Fox doing the right thing, because these balls are all open, and it was so difficult to get an angle to hit that object ball, but it was a lot easier to deliberately push the adjacent ball, that being the 3 ball, and tie up the 6. So it then concedes ball in hand to Bedhead, but it then says, well, let's see what you can do. And Bedhead's looking and thinking. The obvious thing is there's not that many balls anywhere near those 2 balls to disturb them, and Bedhead's taking a risk here. He's going to pot the 1, he's going to try and nudge these 2 balls and get the cue ball back out for the shot in the 2. That's the plan. Well, he's got the hit, and he split them enough, and it's simple enough to pot the 2 and just make sure he can get as close to the rail. I think he can do that with a bit of well, I can do that no problem. Bit of inside right off the bottom rail, and that will check the cue ball back over to this right, and he can see the 3 no problem. And well, he's not letting it run. He's content to just run through far enough, which I think he's done. I think he's fine. And that angle that he's left there again is perfect for the cut and dropping onto the 5. There's no doubt it's going to be a 7-9 combo. 6 ball though is way up the table. 10 ball could be a possible hindrance if he doesn't get enough pace in this, because he's got to, well, I don't think he wants to be playing that 7 ball that side. He wants to come down here. He wants to be playing it from here, and well, you see that it's a question of whether he's going to go all out for it, because that shot that he has there, you can force it around with the spin, danger of the scratch, but you can get to here to play the combo. But again, like I said earlier, he's leaving himself on this narrow side to play the high cut, wasn't prepared to take the risk. And the cue ball's going to slow up, so it's worked out. And I think that, well, Mr. Fox has virtually reached a point of no return. Well, I think, in all honesty, and being serious about it, neither of these two guys should need any coaching. But Bedhead is keeping it together at the right time of the match, at the business end, and he's taking it to 12, and it is now the mountain to climb, and it's a major mountain, and it is way too late. Bedhead breaks off, and what's went? The 6 ball has gone, and this time he hasn't got a shot. Four balls locked away behind the 7. Well, so far from the match resuming, Bedhead was making far too many mistakes in the first part of this session tonight, and that let Mr. Fox back in. In fact, Mr. Fox actually wasted 2 good chances that he did have, so he could have another 2 racks on the board, Mr. Fox. And of course, that's another point as well. Bedhead is, I think he's in Sweden as well, so he's another hour in front of me, and it's almost midnight here. But Bedhead's just holding it together a bit better. But in order for Mr. Fox to win those racks, he had to get enough chances, and he was getting them. No doubt about that. I mean, this instance now, Mr. Fox is hampered over the 5. He's got only the top third of the cue ball that he can get anything onto on this shot. So the odds on getting good on this 4 are fairly slim. And this is where you just try to do too much. But you certainly, first things first, you've got to get the 3 ball into the hole. That's the main objective. And like I say, when you start having to try and do too much, they're going to hang up, and then the end result is a scratch. So ball in hand for Bedhead, giving himself the angle to drop onto the 4, and he should be out, and he should be on the hill. Well, he can. I always like to go forward with the angle and just get it across. The danger is a scratch in the middle pocket doing it that way. He's looking to just punch with a little draw off it, which is the safest shot. But now he's in danger of running into the 8 ball, so it looks like maybe the big draw into the open table. Is he getting far enough? Yes, he is. So well, that'll see Bedhead waiting within 1. There's really shouldn't be a problem. I mean, you can play it real simple, drop the 8 in, roll the 9 into the left middle, and roll the 10 back into this bottom right hand corner. That's it done. Now, well, while he's doing that, this bloody page still hasn't loaded. Oh, it has loaded. We'll eventually get to the bracket and bring the bracket up. That's the 9 dropping into the middle, just in case you're wondering. Where's the bloody mouse went to? And that's the 10 gone in. So, bedhead now breaking in the rack that he needs. Now, for any latecomers, we'll have a final look at the rack. Not the rack, the bloody bracket, sorry. I'm slurring my words as well. I should be in La La Land at this time. Well, that was a pleasant little nudge in the 3. Right, so, well, how do you play it safe here? Well, you play it safe by just rolling the 4 in. He's got a bit high in the 4, and this cue ball has to run up far enough, which he has done. Well, it's maybe a bit too far now. The simpler shot would have an angle just to stun down for the 6, and now, well, this is neither here nor there, whether he can actually pot that and roll through to leave the 6 into the opposite middle. I think he's maybe trying to convince himself of that as well. Well, you see, stunning it, there's a danger of running into the 10 like that, and it all going pear-shaped by missing the 5. So I think he tried to take liberties there, and I think that was the problem. He was trying to create something out of really nothing that was there, other than maybe trying to roll through that I was suggesting. It was a bit sort of dubious as to whether it was going to go nicely through to leave a half decent shot into the opposite middle, but now it's all gone wrong, and it should be game over here. The bedhead though is not sitting perfect. He might take the risk of cutting this 6 and running into the 9 and getting a brush off to go across for the 7. I think it's too narrow to maybe stun it across. Yep, he's taking the risk, and he's got there, and he might take the risk again in nudging into that 8, because he's got too much angle to draw and hold for the 8. He might end up leaving a high cut on it. Well, he's had a little nudge into it, and that has worked out nice. That's good touch. So just these last 3 balls. Now, I think he's a bit too straight in the 8. He might just run through and run this 9 into the right middle pocket. How does that look? Well, he's dead straight. He can't take any liberties here. He's managed to squeeze a wee angle. So this for the match. So in goes the 10, and we now have a result. Whether that's going to show properly in the bracket, I don't know. We'll soon find out. Bedhead wins by 14 racks to 9. So in actual fact, Bedhead won the session by 9 racks to 8, is that right? Because Mr. Fox was on 1 and Bedhead was on 5 when we started, so in the end it was actually a close session, but he runs out the winner by 14 racks to 9. So we'll go and have a final look at the bracket for anybody that's interested, and we'll see how that shapes up now. So we have the Moz match with Jose, which is tomorrow now. We're actually in Thursday here, and then further down we've got the result from earlier on, and that was Albinario beating Mr.Bill by 14 racks to 3, and well, let's be honest, he was well worth that scoreline. He was really solid. We also have the match between Larry and Acero. That has finally been agreed, and that is going to be in a few days' time as well. And that's going to be, what time's that? 2 PM or 3 PM my time in the afternoon, and I will have that one on the stream. That'll be a tough match for Larry. And we also have the winner of the match there, which actually has appeared on the bracket, so that's working okay. And Bedhead is going to be facing Semi-Pro in round number 3. That'll be a good match. And further down we've got LS3 waiting on the winner of the Interchange X Stub match, and I'll find out from Tin tomorrow whether Stub has sent any proposals or received any to get their match sorted out. But as I say, obviously 2 of them are in the States, so the chances of me getting to stream it are probably fairly slim, bearing in mind the time zone differences, so they'll probably be playing in the middle of my night. And then as we go further down, Mooncake is set to play Sergeresh in a few days' time. That is going to be at 7 PM, so I should have that. And as we continue down, another round 2 match has been arranged for tomorrow, and that will be tomorrow afternoon my time, or today my time, because we're now at past midnight, at 3 PM between Spectre Dawn and Shaft Tracks. And further down we have Bankster waiting on the winner of that match already in round 3. We have Skybitter who is waiting on the winner of Sargo and Jover. They haven't got anything set yet in their round 2 match. And we have Hazard all set to play Party Marty, and again they've got plenty of time to arrange their match. They've got up until the 21st, and of course these other guys have got until the 13th to arrange theirs. So with that, that is it for the night, folks. It's been another long one. It's been 3 hours managing to get that second match in. So thank you for your company, guys. The voice is beginning to go. I'm going to bid you good night. Stay safe, take care, keep your distance, and I will see you again soon.